Okay, let's talk about the end, the beginning, the middle, the everything in a circle, known as
Spiral.
in a spiral, known as Uzumaki.
Mm.
Uzumaki, the show just ended. Uh, 4 episodes only. Um, Suffice to say, the show has been an up and down experience for at least me. I I want to let you take this away. You can either do a whole series review on it, or you can go episode by episode. You choose your path, choose your own adventure.
Oh, love a choose your own adventure. I'm wearing my Uzumaki sweater. hmm Had to bring it out for the moment. Um, what's her name? The girls on the back. Um, I was so I wasn't anticipating anything more than this show. And the first episode was so like beautifully unnerving that I was like I couldn't wait for the next one. I was so full of hope, full of youthful wonder. Um and then the second episode came and I felt like you know how like when SpongeBob goes to rock bottom but he like falls.
Yeah.
That's how I felt after watching the second episode. It was just so bad. And there's no other like way of saying it. It was just fucking bad. Um and it's so unfortunate that they had to not that they had to, but that it happened in the way that it did where they just changed animation like companies altogether and it's so bad. They should have just like held it off even longer if that
Yeah.
was the case. We'd already waited like what, like 5 fucking years or so. Like what's another two? It
Yeah, before you just stop you really quick. I think that like we had a conversation about this with our friends earlier today, and like we were talking about, um does like good or bad animation like fully make or break a show? Like I lean on yes. And I feel like it, but if the story is really good, it's like I guess you could just keep watching. Like I don't really think like Free Run's all that amazing. It does have really good moments, but it's very like really good story, but then it has like top tier moments. I would say the show like it peaks and then it's like it is all the way down there. And I think that this show is like just talking specifically about episode two, it was such a stark difference, that was like um it was kind of jarring in a way, like seeing how I don't know. I think like love and how the first one just looked very like well defined line work. There was like if they did do like a still screen, it looked like they went over the manga and it looked completely it looked really good, And I think that it just looked very like spaghetti like in a way in the episode two, and especially when they were like running, it was like, what the fuck is going on with this running? The running, and they did not know how to fucking make running in this show. The CG just looked odd. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know if it really. What do you think about that? Do you think like animation makes or breaks a show?
um yeah, I mean I do. I think it takes you out of um it takes you out of the story. Like you're not focusing on anything else. At least that's how it is for me. Um, but to go back into my thoughts on Uzumaki, I overall I think that it was just like it was a mediocre retelling of a really good story. I think in its entirety, it skipped over a lot of like underlining plot points that make it all make sense. Because it is just like a jumbled up story of like
Hmm.
different instances that lead up to this bigger picture. Um, so I feel like it was just lacking a lot for the sake of quick production, and I think that that is also something that makes or breaks a show. Like pushing shit out, like quantity over quality is it's terrible.
It's funny because I didn't
It's
have either in this.
yeah, like I mean they did at the beginning, like in the very first episode, like it was so like so beautifully drawn, and for the sake of quick production, they like sacrificed all of the like art quality in it, you know?
Yeah.
Um and I have been trying to like look for the panel specifically, but I haven't been able to find it. I wanted to double check the way that the manga ends versus the way the anime ends. Because I knew that the very last thing that happens is Kirie and Shuichi forming their own kind of like intertwined spiral togetherness thing, like we saw, I believe in episode 2. I believe that is how it like ends. Like it's just I think the very last panel is just like a shot of them over the town entangled together. Um and if that's the case, then the anime ended fine. But I will say I didn't necessarily like the very like it was very jarring, like the very jarring like black screen right after. Like there wasn't any type of like fading out or anything. It just seemed very abrupt. And for the whole like entirety of the show to be as like mediocre as it was, for it to like end on a black screen, which is kind of like we're done.
Yeah.
Finally, we did it.
Yeah. I feel you there. I like it's the same in the same way how you like explain the show. It's in the same way that I'm like, I need to push myself from being like taking the show so seriously to being like, he just ran up a fucking tree. You know? It's like, oh, they run like they run like how I run in dreams. You know? Like the last episode was the silliest thing I've ever watched. Like the first, like we cut back to the town from episode like 3, and they're like, the whole town's destroyed. Everybody's an airbender. Don't talk too loud, otherwise, like,
It
and then they to avoid the tornadoes, they just fall on the ground. Like
it's
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 silly.
so it's so upsetting because in the like I remember when I was reading the manga, it all felt like thrilling to be like, oh my god, like what happened? Why do they keep like when they're in the woods and they think that they're getting away from the
Yeah,
town, but they're going in circles. That read very like, oh my god, like why can't they get out? You know, like it the way that it was paced in the manga is just so like it that's what made me excited to see it animated. So it just it's so disappointing
yeah,
the way
nah,
that it happened because I was so excited.
yeah, and you know, it's like I will say the third episode for me was very like I could not wait for it to end, and I was like, God,
That was
this is
very
bad.
long.
It felt, you know, it's actually shorter than the last episode. They've
Oh
actually
well, it
gotten
felt
longer
long.
as each one. Yeah, the third episode felt like a
Long.
fucking eternity. I cannot wait to stop watching it. I didn't mind how the third episode or the fourth and final episode was. I thought that it was like overall, I think the series is like very meh, but I feel like this one had the most entertainment value for me besides the first one. Because like I just thought the whole fourth episode was hilarious, and there was just like you have what's Endeavor His voice actor was in it, and he's just like, "Come on, guys, I'm building up the place to have everybody's bones be crushed. You guys want a room?" Like, we meet this like reporter who like stays with them for like almost the entirety of the episode. Then she gets like eaten by the house, and you're like, "Ah." Anyway,
It's not
like
like she could have gotten out anyway. Like nobody
this
was
this
getting
is
out of there.
this entire episode, or honestly, this entire show was like the meme of like some like he shoots somebody and he's like, "Oh, how terrible." Anyway, like, yeah, this I actually hated when the dude is like, I can't wait till he turns into a snail." And then he turns into a snail and he's like, I'm gonna go watch me here. I heard that the animals do this. Like goes into the fucking the snails like hole
Where
and then save me some you bum.
I swear,
And
reading it, it feels so much more morbid and
oh, it was
like
so funny.
terrible. But watching it because of the way it looked, like, why did he slither like that? Like, he
That was
looked like
so
he was
funny.
the physics, like, in that, like, uh, piece alone. He looked like a snake. Like, he looked like he had no bones at all. It,
Well, there was
it,
that. There was when the brother was turning into a snail and
and
like
they're trying to hide.
oh, that was so fucking funny. They're like, "What's going on?" The guy's like, "What's going on over there?" Nothing. Nothing's going on over here. And then he turns into a
why is
snail
his
and then
back? Why is his back big? That's his backpack.
it was so funny. And then he turns into a snail, and then they go to the edge of the cliff, and she's just like, "You can climb down, right?" And he's like, like, she's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "You gotta go, you dumb, stupid animal, or I'm gonna smack you." She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna smack you." Like, what would you rather do? Get smacked or get eaten? Go, just go, just go. And then he's like, man, fucking, we never see him again. He's the brother's just gone. That was so fun. Also, I want to talk about the airbenders in the beginning. They're like, how fucking funny was that when they were like, well, we're no longer the butterfly gang. We're the jumbo dragonfly gang
Yeah, with
because
the big
because
dragonfly king.
because dragonflies eat other things. And then the fucking background character's like, yeah, we're the jumbo dragonflies because butterflies are lame. Like that was so I loved that. That was
No, that was so funny. What made it funnier for me was like hearing you under your breath go, "Well, thanks for letting us fucking know."
yeah, I know. They like had to update them. Actually, our titles are different now. We're the jumbo. We're the jumbo dragonfly. We're not just regular. We're jumbo. Yeah. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, people are turning into snails, and that's what you're worried about? Your
That's what
your
I say. Like, I
title?
think it's so funny that like this town is going to shit. Like, there's clearly something terrible going on here, and there's still like the need for like a macho like gang to
There's
like
there's like
terrorize
a
the people
whole
some more.
there's a whole other like manga going on in this. There's like the what's that one show that the Tokyo Revengers? There's the whole like
Tokyo
other
Revengers.
it's the jumbo dragonfly Avengers are going on right now. You know what? Honestly, they're telling the kids, don't go join that gang. Why not?
They're eating snails.
Why not? At that point, why the F not? They could fly on tornadoes. I know we see immediately they get eaten up by a spiral, but apparently that place has been getting decimated by them for apparently weeks. The
They
also
were
the
gone for
time
like what, like 3 months or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this. I don't know. I don't know what the timeline. Well,
I think it was 3 months.
when they go into the forest, it's like years, and then they come back. It's
Three
years later.
years. It was three
Yeah, but
years.
but
Yeah.
this is before all that. I don't know what the time jump was between episode 3 and 4, but apparently they've been doing this for a while, being airbenders and not leaving. They decided they wanted to stay in this tiny tri-state area with their powers and not leave.
It's not like they could.
They should have left.
They
Somebody
walk in
that's
circles.
they were like you gotta admit though, they probably had like a gang meeting and they were like,
All
hey,
right, guys.
all right, we can't be this lame ass, gay ass butterfly like name anymore. We gotta be the macho men. Somebody on the playground was like, hey, butterflies suck. And they're like, we can't be the, we gotta be the dragonflies. And someone's like, the jumbo dragonflies. Like, yeah, that's anybody they meet now. They're like, hey, you want to join the jumbo dragon? It's just, it's such a stupid part of the show. And if you fall, there's like a tornado. Like, when we cut back to after uh they get through like the forest thing, and Endeavor's like, hey, when you guys get back, I'll build you a thing. And it's just like you
The
did.
spiral of the row houses has already been made.
I love how when they meet him in the middle, he's like in the middle of a fucking 8 hour shift. He's just like, yeah, I've been doing this. We're almost done. You should have saw Mr. McMiller down there down the road was saying that there's somebody doing something crazy because they're all together and morphed. But I have conversations with them maybe. Like, and they're Shuichi and fucking Curie are like, oh, okay. Have you seen my parents in this amalgamation of skulls? And he's like, yeah, I think I have actually. Like, what's
I
happening?
really like after watching this, I need you to read the manga and to see if you still feel like if it's funny because I swear it like reading it is such a different experience than watching whatever the hell this was.
It was
And
just so goofy.
I'm just convinced that Junji Ito's works cannot be translated into motion. It just doesn't work. Like I'm convinced after the anthology, the Junji Ito collections on Netflix after this, after the like terrible live action movies, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I feel like
Nope.
there's a
He
way
needs to
to
do it
do this.
himself. And they got it. The first episode, they did it. But
Kind.
nobody's patient.
I would say the first that like I don't think that there was a through storyline that was like a cohesively put together story. And I get that like the manga isn't a cohesive put together story either. So you would have to use your own creative juices to how to like put everything together. It just felt like there was a lot of like picking and choosing where they put things. I know that like a lot of it wasn't actually in the order that came out in the anime or in the manga. So like they chose that. You know what I mean? They chose to do that. I feel like there's a way to like introduce things at once. Like the most consistent thing throughout the entire like the one thing I could tell you consistently throughout this entire thing is that fucking there are a lot this guy loves snails. This guy fucking loves snails.
You know
Big
what he
fucking
does? Because I think there's another story where there's like a snail girl or
yeah,
something, and like that's like the main thing. But
loves fucking snails. That's what I got out of this. Big snail guy.
but like no,
Loves
like
Gary.
the way that they did the anime, they did pick and choose when they were showing things. Like um albeit they weren't like too far off from when they're shown in the manga it themselves, but it was like we're gonna just show this and then we're gonna do this. And it like I said previously, in the manga there is like a there is like a continuous like sub, not like subplot, but things happen or things are said that leads you to that conclusion of there being like that underground like temple like thing that's
Yeah.
alive. It leads up to that, um which the anime did not. do for the sake of just showing you shit, you know? And
Yeah.
it after learning that they changed animation like people or like animation companies, it makes so much fucking sense why they had all of the heavy hitters, like the most famous images in the whole manga in the very first episode. Like they wanted to show you all of the like this is look at we could do this, we did it, and then like everything else is like shit, like nothing else mattered. So it's it's almost like a fuck you, you know, like we're gonna show you like what it's gonna like what it could have looked like, and then
Yeah.
it's just gonna be ass like the rest of the way.
I
And
will say, like, before you like move on with that point though, like, I don't, I didn't disagree with that though. You know, like having it be everything in that first episode, like it's almost like they kind of knew, like it's like they knew
mhm.
that that's how it was gonna happen. So it was
Yeah,
like I'm sure the people who worked on the latter three episodes worked on the first episode too, a little bit, you know? So I'm sure that there was something like the blueprints were there to like complete whatever was going on in the first
yeah,
episode too. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, I'm sure that like there was like a there had to have been like a storyboard where they knew what they were gonna talk about, and how it was like gonna end, you know. But
yeah,
it was just like the difference is that it was just then rushed. That's like the biggest
yeah.
difference, because I don't know if it was like a complete like clean break from like company to company, or if they had just like maybe like fired their art director or something. Like I don't know like how like extensive this change was, but it's obvious that there was a change in direction. um
You know what?
and I
Listen, if Uzumaki can come out, Blade can come out. So
it's just
Blade, and Uzumaki in
disappointment
development
after,
here,
you know what,
Raquel.
disappointment after disappointment, because I was so excited for Uzumaki, disappointed. I was so excited for Blade, disappointment. You're not even getting Blade. I'm tired. I like they can't keep dangling Blade in my face and then
So dumb, so dumb.
but
Yeah,
yeah, Uzumaki. I highly recommend to read. If you haven't, please read Uzumaki and see how much different it is from this crap that that was given to
maybe,
us. Please. Now
maybe.
I'm speaking to you, please.
I think I think the most cohesive story that this thing has had is right when they went into the forest, and from the forest on in that show it was like, okay, this is story. We have stuff that is continuously happening
And that
that
was for the
makes
most
sense.
part panel for panel. For the most part, that was panel for panel.
Yeah, that was probably the best like non-immersion breaking. I mean, obviously, besides the fucking and fucking them being like, "I'm gonna beat you if you don't go down
That was
this
like
cliff." Hey, that was so funny.
that was
That was
like
the
the
funniest
perfect
thing.
that was the perfect sound. That's
Yeah.
like,
I
yeah,
love the subtitles though. The subtitles were the best when she was like, "Can you climb down there?" And then the subtitles were like, and she's like, oh, "Okay, good, good." Speaking snail. I guess she's fluent in snail, something like that. I don't know. I just love the image of Kyrie being like, "Oh, I'm a snack, yeah." Like, okay, just throw him. He's a snail. I'm sure he'll be okay. And the okay, bye. Waves with his fucking eyelid. But yeah, but after that whole thing, and then they're like, "We're gonna eat you too," and then they all twist up, and you're like, "Oh, okay." And fucking Shuichi, this entire episode was like, "We're all gonna die. Everything's terrible. I hate my life."
he's kind of like that in the manga too. Like
Oh my
he's like
God.
the almost like the omniscient like force that's like everything's bad. Kyrie, I have to save you, Kyrie.
God, he's the character that I feel the most, the worst for. Everything else,
Yeah, he
Kyrie,
had it bad.
maybe Kyrie was Uzumaki was the friends we made along the way. That's
Uzumaki was the spirals we made along the way.
overall, what would you give this show? Do letter grades. What do you give this show?
The manga is an A.
She's
The
thinking.
show, the the gears are turning.
Audio only. People are like, what?
Sorry,
What?
sorry for the silence, y'all.
It's good
If I could
podcasting.
if I could have the if I could play the gears creaking in my mind as I think I would. Yeah, the
I'm just
um
gonna make the snail sound.
that's even worse. Please, that's not my brain, guys. Um I would C minus. C minus D.
Oh wow. That low? Okay.
It does have good moments, even when it's bad. There are like certain times where it was like, okay, like that wasn't like terribly animated,
Yeah.
but the majority of the time it was booty. So it's C minus D, unfortunately. And
Uh,
it's big, unfortunately.
I give this show a C plus for like regular ranking with all my art snob shit, but I give this an A plus
Generous.
for hilarious moments. There are so many hilarious things that had. You know what? Honestly though, maybe Junji Ito meant for it to be funny because he's a hilarious person himself. So the more I've learned about this man, the more I've learned that he's just a funny dude.
He is a funny dude.
He's a little funny, silly dude who likes just make. He's like, but what if spirals were everywhere? Like he just,
He
what if they started eating the snails? Like it'd be hilarious.
he
Um,
just loves his horror and he loves his wife, and
it,
that's all you can ask for.
I think there was too many hilarious moments in this to not give it like for hilarity's sake, and for me, for what I will remember is him running up a tree in the first episode, which was hilarious. That was the funniest thing I think anybody could have done. Then the next episode was the hair battle, and then fucking Shuichi being like, "I brought scissors." Him showing up with the things that are needed to defeat the spirals every single time was like a Scooby-Doo character in a way. Like he was just hilariously just like, I'm ready to go. Like, oh, I brought some bug spray. Like shit, that third episode with the mosquito fucking pregnant people, and then funny enough, they just have fucking drills that they brought in with them to the hospital. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Fucking Kyrie is like, where should I put this thing? And then her cousin's like, oh, just put it on the table. Like, and then nobody wants to believe her that there is like fucking mosquitoes inside the hospital, even though there's just a dead dude in there. Multiple dead people. They're like, oh, it's the pregnant people, man. Oh, and then the talking babies was hilarious. They're
You
like, let me
did
get.
like the talking babies.
I thought that was hilarious. Let's just go back in. You know what? Don't blame them. Don't blame them at all. Didn't have to worry about anything inside the womb. Immediately when they leave, they're like, I want to go back in. Me too. Me too. Oh, and then I thought the placenta thing was gross. That placenta thing was disgusting. Why you look at me like that? What? Lock me back in, baby. Lock me back in. I'm locked in. I'm locked back in. That's what I mean. It's so funny. Like it's just so funny. What? What? What?
Well, that's Uzumaki.
Oh yeah, I want to end it on that. No, it's just I'm telling you, if you like funny, if they were to add a laugh track to Uzumaki,
Oh my god,
it would be a
no.
10 out. You know what? Maybe that's the edit I should make. Uzumaki, but it's a sitcom.
It's
It's just like
insufferable, actually.
Shuichi being like, I got bug spray. And then someone's like, help me, Kyrie. She's like, I don't know what to do. Like, oh God, this show is so fucking funny. I love also when they're in the row house and they're like, make some room. and then the dude's just like, make some room, guys. Just- and then as soon as they leave, they're like, I got some elbow room finally. Like they're just yapping in this show. They're just straight up yapping. But anyway, for real, the for real ranking is like C plus. C plus. That's fine. It was funny enough that I would watch this again next year and laugh. It was a good laugh. It was a good chuckle.
I would not watch this again.
This was a funny show. This was a comedy show for me.
I love Uzumaki.
The
That's
show
all.
made me itch. The show actually gave me hives. I got hives on my my right leg after watching Uzumaki. Itchy things. But what do you think about Uzumaki? You a fan of Uzumaki? Did you think it fell off? Did you keep watching? Did you watch it all the way through? I don't really see a lot of people watching it all the way through, and I don't
I don't
blame
blame
them.
you.
But yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think. And while you're down there, remember to leave a like and subscribe.